Doctor, give me the news. I got a bad case of punning you. We watched Dr. Giggles, a movie with more puns than you can shake a stethoscope at. We watch it so you don't have to. So take 2 of these and call us in the morning because you know what time it is.
Horror, so bad it's scary. Splitting up is never okay. Plot, who needs it? Don't turn on the lights. Cars don't ever start, but that's alright. Running upstairs instead of out the door. Good acting, what do we need that for? Horrible horror, so bad it's scary. Enjoy the show, but not really.
Greetings, Moon Goons. Welcome to Horrible Horror, the podcast where we watch the worst of the worst in horror movies. I'm your host, Mr. Marshall A. Hampton. With me is my co-host, my buddy, the co-host with the mostest, Mr. Aaron Southworth.
Co-hostess with the mostest.
Yes.
I like it. I have the mostest, and you knows this.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Welcome to the show. Before we get started, today's episode was suggested to us, so I'm going to say brought to you by a listener by the name of Todd Brown. He requested this movie a long time ago. I'm going to say that. I'll be honest, a very long time ago.
Oh, shit.
But when he first suggested it, I looked it up and I wanted to do it because I've heard of it. I remember watching it back in like the 90s when I was a kid, but it wasn't streaming at the time. I couldn't find it streaming. And then, recently I was
And do you want to buy Dr. Giggles? I mean, it was like, do you have to find it? Is it even in print anymore?
Yeah, you'd have to.
Yeah.
It was one I was going to have to like buy physical copies, like DVDs and have it shipped here. I'm like, I just want streaming stuff that I can rent. So I waited, and then now it's streaming.
It's on Amazon.
It's on a bunch of places. It's on Amazon and YouTube and Google Play and iTunes and Vudu. So it just went from nowhere to like everywhere, apparently.
Sweet. It's like got locked. It's like the Disney Vault.
Yeah, it got released, and they'll be shut away for another 20 years.
So get it while it's hot, Moon Goons.
Get your copy of Dr. Giggles. Before we get to the movie, though, it's that time of the year again. It's the greatest time of the year because coming up soon, in just a matter of probably weeks, is the 2017-2018 horrible movie March Madness, which we never give it a name. We never give it a proper name. It changes every time I say it, but it's coming up.
It's the third annual whatever March Movie Madness.
Yeah, whatever. Where we'll take all the movies from the past year that we've done on the show, and we will put them in a tournament, and we'll make them fight to the death amongst each other, and one winner will stand victorious as the worst of the past year, or loser, I guess. I mean, however you want to say it, but
yeah, whichever title you want.
Yeah,
I guess.
We
Are you
don't have a
that
title
horrible?
for it.
Are you that bad? That's kind of awesome.
All right, so Dr. Giggles. This was released.
Should I tell the people where they can find us, though?
God damn it! If you insist.
Well, if I do.
Fine.
That's why I interrupted you.
Go ahead.
Because
whatever.
you can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us at Twitter. At Twitter, it's So Bad It's Scary. And, of course, you can find us at horriblehorrorpodcast.com. There is something there. You can get a hold of us there. You can also listen to us. You can listen to us on our website. And you can also listen to us on iTunes. You can listen to us on Podbean. And, if I'm not mistaken, did we not just recently add?
Actually, we are actually still on Google Play.
Sweet.
If you can figure out how to use Google Play and find the podcast section of it, we are still there.
Oh, great.
But yeah, we are actually now on a new site called Speaker.com.
Speaker.com.
And hopefully we are waiting approval to be picked up on iHeartRadio podcast
damn.
as well. So that's in the works.
We're all up in your guts now.
Yeah,
we're coming into all kinds of ear holes.
We're going to make you airtight.
Shit. So watch out. Here we go.
We're coming for you. All right. Let's get back to serious business here. It's Dr. Giggles.
Serious business.
Yeah. This was written by, I'm going to butcher this person's name. I don't know if it's a guy or girl. Graeme Whiffler. That's Graeme Emmy, Grammy. I don't know, Whiffler.
I always let you pronounce it because if anyone has any beef, it's on you.
And Manny Cato, directed by Manny Cato as well. Now, Manny Cato had found way more success later on as a producer than as a director. He wanted to produce things like 24 and all their break off shows, as well as the hit show Dexter and a bunch of our big shows.
Star Trek too.
Yeah, and some Star Trek. Yeah, so he had much more success as a producer than a director going forward. The cast for this movie, Dr. Giggles himself was played by character actor Larry Drake, who had 84 credits. He had voiceover work in Star Wars: The Force Unleashed, the video game. Voiceover work in Johnny Bravo, the cartoon.
Oh, sweet.
Voiceover work in Justice League animated movies. He was in American Pie 2. He did voiceovers in Batman Beyond. He was on 144 episodes of L.A. Law, I should say. He was Robert Durant in Darkman 1 and 2.
I know, he was Darkman.
He was Darkman. He was also Bubba Ritter in Dark Knight of the Scarecrow. And he was credited as Yahoo #1 in the original Karate Kid.
Whoa.
Yeah. So
who's Yahoo?
Yahoo #1. I don't know if he was one of like the Cobra. He could have been one of the Cobra Kai lackeys. So he had been. Maybe he was probably like
on the beach
high school
scene.
kid, or like high school kid, or maybe somebody in the crowd somewhere. But yeah, he was Yahoo #1.
Cool. I understand he passed away.
He did. He passed away a few years back. I don't get the date, but he has passed. Next, we have Jennifer, our main character, who's played by Holly Marie Combs. She's got 26 credits. She's most famous for her role as Piper Halliwell on the long-running show Charmed. She's also in 86 episodes of Pretty Little Liars. She's starred in Picket Fences, which was an older show. She also made appearances in the cult hit The Craft, which is that witchcraft high school movie.
Oh, right on.
And she was with Tom Cruise in Born on the 4th of July.
Never seen it.
I've actually never seen it either. I've seen parts of it. It just looked boring.
But
I was also much, much younger.
Yeah, it looked too serious.
Yeah, yeah. And then Tamara, the stepmom, is played by Michelle Johnson. She's got 39 credits, including Death Becomes Her, The Glimmer Man, another Tom Cruise, Far and Away, which is a big...
Okay.
And Waxwork, another horror movie.
Yeah.
That's about it. There's a bunch of other people with work, that has some work to their name, but those are really the only ones that kind of stand out.
One thing my wife pointed out was the boyfriend. I don't know who the actor is.
Wait. We're going to get to that.
Oh.
The black guy?
No.
Oh, okay.
The boyfriend, the main boyfriend character.
Oh, yes, Max. He's played...
He was David and Roseanne.
Yeah, he was in Roseanne for a long...
Who also died. Also passed away. Heroin overdose. Yes. I was going to mention... It's an epidemic, folks.
I actually had that later in my trivia question. I had that. That's why I didn't have any cast. But yes, dude from Roxanne is on this. So let's cut this baby open. We open straight with the credits. So there's no code to open. We just go right to the credits.
And the music is awesome. And it's so dramatic. Bum, 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 bum. And I recognize it. I'm like, where the fuck is this music from? Where do I recognize this music from? And it's the opening intro to one of my favorite all-time hip-hop artists, Dr. Octagon. So he sampled the music from Dr. Giggles in the intro to his song. Holy shit.
Doctors got to stick together, I guess.
couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my God.
That's a name I haven't heard in a very long time.
Dr. Octagon,
yeah.
paramedic. Forget it. I won't even start.
Yeah. So the credits is super 90s. It takes us inside the veins or arteries of the human body, where we follow poorly done CGI blood vessels.
Oh, but for the 90s, it was the tits. It was so cool.
It's traveling through the body and into the heart, and then we see the heart get sliced open
by a scalpel.
And we see above us Dr. Giggles performing heart surgery.
Full gear, full surgical gear, except for the mask.
Yeah, and he's in one of those
operating theaters.
Where you have the people looking above you. And there's several other doctors watching from the observation area high above them. And the camera pans around to show that the patient isn't really a patient in like surgery attire robes. It's just a dude in a suit with his chest cut open.
His suit with the stern, like the sternum opener that's keeping his sternum open, and his heart's exposed, but he's in his suit.
Yeah.
He's just lying on the operating table.
And it turns out that the doctors that are observing are actually other released mental patients or escaped mental patients and not doctors. So next we get the scene of a nurse. She's sitting at a desk, and we see a pair of hands kind of reach in and start rubbing her shoulders. And the nurse thinks it's the doctor
Yeah,
she's having a fling with.
She looks over and kind of sees the ring on his finger. Like, oh, Dr. Smith.
Yeah. Like,
What are you doing?
Yeah.
This is inappropriate.
and she reaches up to touch his arms, but she pulls her hands back, and her fingers are covered in blood. She spins around, and there's Dr. Giggles standing there holding the doctor's severed arms.
He's just holding two arms.
Just two arms.
Like, hello.
Like, waving them around. He's like, he should have kept his hands to himself. There's pun number one.
Oh.
And if you want to play a drinking game to pun,
Hold on to your butts.
good luck with this one. Because you will be fucking hammered.
In the first, 20, 30 minutes.
There are more puns than you can keep track of in this movie. So Giggles he kills her. He then kills a man in his car that's about to open the outside gate. He's swiping his key card. He just kills him, takes his key card.
They also showed a scene where orderlies are walking through with another, I guess, administrative person. Like, they escaped. The mental patients have escaped. Who are we We're looking for patient number WX222.
Yeah, whatever.
And then one of the orderlies goes, "Oh no, it's Dr. Giggles."
Dr. Giggles.
And they're like, "What? That's what we call him." And he goes, the schizophrenic with an IQ off the charts.
Yeah, he's beyond Einstein intelligent or something.
So the alarm's sounding. He finds the guy who's swiping his way out the door, grabs it, and kills him. And
just drives off
in his car. So he makes a clean escape.
Yeah, and we see him. He drives to the town of Moore High, and we cut to Moore High School on the last day of school. The kids are running. It's a traditional cliche. Kids are running out the door like, yeah, last day of school. Woo!
Papers
Yeah.
flying. Everyone's high-fiving.
They're excited for summer break. And here we meet our main group of characters. We meet Jennifer and Max, who are dating. And we meet the rest of the gang. That includes the two slutty girls, Corinne and Normie, that's a really weird name. Normie. Stu and his girl, Diane. And then the black couple, Lee and Dougie Doug is the black guy. I don't even care what his name is. He's just Dougie Doug.
And I don't know if you have it in your trivia or not, but I don't care. I got
Dougie Doug. He's the guy who went on to Cool Runnings fame, man.
Feel the rhythm.
Feel the rhyme.
Come on, y'all. It's bobsled time.
Get on up. It's
Cool
Cool
Runnings.
Yeah. Yeah, it's Dougie Doug, yo.
He had the lucky egg.
Yes, he did.
When I saw him, I'm like, Cool Runnings.
Yeah. Dougie Doug is in this movie. We cut to Jennifer at a doctor's appointment with Dr. Chamberlain, the town doctor. And here we learn that Jennifer has this heart condition. It's a microvalve prolapse.
Yep.
Aaron might be able to explain that a bit better. It's just a minor heart condition.
Yeah, it's nothing major.
And Chamberlain gives her a heart monitor to wear. We next cut to this exterior shot of this old rundown Victorian home. And in the basement, we find Dr. Giggles trying to bash his way through a wall. Jennifer just happens to be walking by, hears the banging, but kind of ignores it. And she bumps into this the crazy old lady with her dog.
She happens to be must live super close.
Yeah, it's on her way home from school.
Yeah, because she bumps into neighbors. She recognizes the neighbors. So everyone's knows this house.
It's a small town. Yeah,
it's a small town. There's this gorgeous house just sitting there. I mean, it's a beautiful home. I mean,
it would be a beautiful. It's in disrepair.
Yeah.
It's falling apart. But yeah.
Yes, it's the quote unquote scary house in town. I mean, the gate's broken. It's run down. But if you put a little spit shine into it, man, it would look awesome.
Yeah. So Jennifer finally gets home, and here we meet her father and her stepmother Tamara, which is a weird name because you hear Tamara, I'm thinking. I don't know. She does not look
more like an
Tamara.
African name.
Yeah, I'm thinking a black girl. But it's.
But I gotta say, they didn't say it right off the bat. She walks in, and I'm like, "Is that her older sister? Her mom? What?" They kind of give each other a shitty glance.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
We find out that there's definitely some
tension.
Yes, thank you. Some tension between the two of them. We go back to Giggles, who has broken through the wall and finds his father's old doctor's office. And we get flashback number 1 for the movie of a young Dr. Giggles and his family. Boy Giggles is performing surgery on his stuffed animal. He's taking out their heart, what would be the heart, just big wads of stuffing. His father comes in, and Boy Giggles like, "Daddy, I want to be a doctor just like you someday." And he's like, "Oh, you will, son." And they laugh and they leave. And
it pans over, and they show all of his stuffed animals that have giant stitches on their chest.
Yeah, there's 20 of them.
He's been performing surgeries on all of his stuffed animals.
On all of them, yeah. So after the flashback, Giggles says this town is sick and needs to be cured. And we cut to Stu, Diane, Lee, and Dougie Doug entering the Giggles house. As Stu tells him the story of Dr. Randall, which is Giggles' father, that he murdered several of the townspeople by taking out their hearts. And one day, this is the gist. Then one day, like a town mob came to the house, dragged him outside, and killed him in the streets. And then for some reason, they went inside looking for his son, but the boy was never found. Like, I can kind of get town off. Okay, we're gonna kill the murderer, but why would the town like say, kill the son too, kill the boy,
kill the like 8-year-old boy?
He's like 12. Yeah. Like, kill the boy.
That's a little crazy.
Yeah.
But did you notice what they were drinking while they were going into the house?
Going into the house? No, I didn't.
Old English 800.
Oh, was it Oldie?
They were drinking some Oldie. Cans of Oldie.
Oh, were they tall boys or just regular
cans? No, they were just regular cans.
I didn't think they made regular cans.
I guess so.
I thought they were just tall boys or 40s.
But I was like, oh shit, they're drinking Oldie.
Oldie. Oh, that brings back memories. So Stu now starts saying like, hey, there's secret passages here. You know, we got to find them. And he starts knocking on walls. And this guy's a fucking moron.
Yeah.
Because the first spot he knocks on to look for a secret wall is right next to a goddamn window on the second floor.
Yeah.
Like there's going to be a secret. What?
This sounds hollow to me.
Yeah, what?
It's outside, asshole.
Yeah. So Dougie, Doug, and Lee, they head off looking for secret passages too. And then Stu just ends up locking them in a room together.
What a dick.
Yeah, and then Stu and Diane just run out of the house laughing at the success of their prank.
That was such a dick move.
It is a dick move.
It's a super dick move. Like, he locks him in there and then wedges his, like,
It's like a pickaxe. It's like like a small pickaxe.
They're not getting out.
No.
Like,
no, and it's not like they just lock him in there for a few minutes. They fucking leave.
Yeah.
Like, they leave for hours.
They leave for a long time.
Meanwhile, in the basement, Giggles finds a wardrobe filled with his father's old suits, which just happen to be in pristine condition after like 50 years or something like that.
Maybe he had cedar
He had
lining.
some cedar and some good mothballs in there.
Yeah, and of course they fit him perfectly.
Yes, he put them on that perfectly fits him.
I know, it's like, I know my dad, I'm a lot bigger than him. I know you're a lot bigger than your dad, too.
Yeah, I'm like a mountain of a man compared to my dad.
It's like,
tower
but
over
they
him.
just happen to, like, match up
Yeah,
perfectly.
match up perfect. So his father, or Giggles also finds his father's old black medical bag. He grabs it and says something like, get ready, more high, the doctor is in, and he just starts doing his crazy, creepy giggles.
I can't do it.
Yeah,
I
tried to represent.
Tried doing the laugh before, but...
hard to recreate.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
something like that. But he does... Yeah, I gotta give him credit, man. He hits those giggles.
He does
great.
hit the giggles very well. So Lee and Dougie Doug, they start hearing the giggling echoing through the house, and they think it's Stu, of course, just, trying to scare him or fuck with them. But of course, they're wrong. And Dr. Giggles kills Dougie Doug by sticking him with a long-ass needled syringe through a keyhole.
This part is so strange. So, you hear the chuckles, you hear the giggles. Dougie Doug's looking through, he's trying to see, he's like, come on, man, let me out. He thinks it's his friend. And then he stands, he has his back, he acts like he got stabbed in the eye.
Yeah.
His girlfriend's looking at him, and he pulls back like, ha ha, I gotcha. The needle comes through the keyhole. It's
gotta be the longest needle in the world. But we'll assume that everything Dr. Giggles has is like giant.
It's huge. So it pricks him, injects him with this green stuff, and immediately he just goes, it's like instant barf up your guts because he goes, like all this crud starts coming out of his mouth.
Like foamy blood is like coming out of his mouth.
Like
and
chunks, and he's just
dead. Instant death.
I'm like, whoa. God damn it.
So Dougie Doug's dead. He's gone.
He just died.
So Giggles comes in, and Giggles looks at Leah and says, I'm not really taking patients yet, but I guess I can make an exception, as he refills a syringe. She screams, and we cut to the kind of weird one Jennifer ran into earlier. She's outside with her dog. She hears this screaming from her living room and looks out the window at Giggles' house and says, hey, you know what? I'm going to go check that out. Wait. Okay, because that's a genius idea right there. But the fact she hears it, like, I don't know. She hears it from her living room over a TV, I think that was on. And
she wasn't sure. She wanted to go check it out.
Yeah, it's just weird.
But it's funny compared to last week where everyone's screaming and they're 2 feet away and
nobody
no one
hears
can be
anything.
here, and now there's like a block away.
Yeah.
This lady hears it over her television as well.
Actually, she turns out she's not a block away. She's like the next door neighbor.
Well,
like the house sits on like the end of like a cul-de-sac, and she's like the one like the 90-degree angle.
Far enough away.
Yeah. So she goes out and she starts hearing the giggling, and then she sees Dr. Giggles looking at her through the keyhole of the front door, and she's like, ah, fuck this. She screams, she runs off. And she runs back to her house.
Good reaction.
Yeah. Next, we get a scene of all of our main group of kids, along a lot of other high school kids are partying at what's basically this town's makeout point.
Yeah, and it's just, dude, everyone's there.
Yeah,
it's like it's
so many
huge,
people.
It's people showing up on motorcycles,
which I thought was weird. Like, that's like an
convertibles.
80s, early 90s thing, like high school kids rolling up on motorcycles. I didn't know a single kid in high school that had a motorcycle that rode to motorcycle school.
I think there were some kids in high school, a few who had motorcycles, but no one had a motorcycle at school.
Nobody rode it to school, though.
No.
And you see it all the time, like 80s, 90s, like the bad guys, like rolling up in their,
leather jacket, smoking Marlboro Reds.
The party gets broken up pretty quick by these two cops, and now these two cops, the black one and the older white one, we'll see a lot of them throughout this film coming up.
And I gotta tip my cap to these cops because they were pretty fucking cool.
You like the cops, huh?
Well, they just said, "All right, you guys break it up."
Oh, yeah, that part. Yeah, okay, yeah, they let the kid. They didn't arrest him. They just get out of here.
Like, get out of here. It's like if you're here by the end, they're playing the party's over.
Yeah, they're blaring the party's over music as they.
And it's like, if you're here by the end of this song, I'm going to have to take you downtown. So he gives them a chance to get out of there, which I was like, that's
good
a good cop.
Yeah,
that's a good cop.
So we jump back to the woman with the dog. She's getting ready for bed. And she gets out this large red pill. I mean, it's giant. And before she can take it, she goes to let her dog in. And when she comes back, the red pill has been replaced by a blue pill, which she downs. Which I think there goes her chance of entering the Matrix right there, because she took the blue pill. All right, I thought that was better than
it's pretty good.
I thought that would be better.
It was perfect red and perfect blue pills.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so anyway, the woman, she gets in bed and she starts to read her tabloid paper, but then she soon starts coughing and choking. She falls to the floor and she's crawling away, and she crawls right into Dr. Giggles, who looks down at her and says, "Good thing I make house calls." And she makes her way into a chair.
Yeah, she's scared. She's kind of trying to back herself into a chair.
And Dr. Giggles pulls out this giant tongue depressor and does the whole open up and say "ah" thing. And we get a camera shot from inside of her mouth.
Inside of her mouth, looking out at Dr. Giggles.
Yeah, which just looks crazy and cartoonish.
It's really weird looking.
Yeah, it's really odd. It's so odd.
Like, I'm wondering, like, why did they do that?
Like, really? This is the decision we're making here?
Yeah, I know. Like,
this is the choice of the director?
It kind of made me think of that scene in Little Shop of Horrors when Steve Martin is the dentist. He's like, "You'll be a dentist." And you have that same inside of the mouth shot where he's, like, looking inside.
Maybe by some chance there is an homage to that.
Maybe.
Because there is an homage to The Exorcist as well in this movie, too.
Yeah. But that's a weird
But
homage.
it's a really weird and obscure thing, like that, if that is the case.
I just thought of that, but yeah, well, I didn't put together that it was an homage, so.
It's just weird. Yeah, it's a really weird choice, and it looks goofy. So then Giggles pulls out some sort of instrument that's designed to, like, look up the nose. And this thing looks like it's almost 8 inches long, and it comes to a really sharp point that lights up at the end.
Ophthalmoscope.
Okay, all right, there we go.
Or otoscope.
I'm not going to try to say it. He shoves it up her nose, and we see it, like, being pushed up the side of her nose, and then we hear, like, this wet squishing sound, which I assume is supposed to be the point, like, puncturing her brain, and she's dead. That's it.
There's an otoscope is for the eyes, and an ophthalmoscope is for the nose and ears.
Well, check out the big brain on Brad. Anyway, so the two cops...
I might have that reversed, but...
the two cops, they arrive outside the woman's house, but they go into Dr. Giggles' house to look around. And during this, we get more background about Dr. Giggles' father from the old cop. And we learn that Giggles' dad killed 7 of his patients by cutting out their hearts while they were still alive. And he did this to try to find a way to save his dying wife, which seems very Mr. Freeze-esque to me. That's the first thing I thought. I was
Ooh,
like,
that's good.
That's Mr. Freeze. Like, that's exactly pretty much what Freeze.
Yeah, he lost it. He blew a gasket, and while he was trying to save his wife.
And they literally said, like, the sicker she got, the crazier the doctor got.
Yeah.
And again, they bring up the mystery of how the kid got out of the house and went missing.
They don't know how. Yeah.
And he's never found, and blah blah blah. And so the black cop finds this piece of fabric stuck to the wall, and he takes it with him as they leave the house. Which is a really odd thing just to take, because there's so much junk and shit all over that house. Like, just for him to look, like, it doesn't look out of place in that dilapidated house. He's like, oh, I'll just take this. And
we didn't really describe the inside of the house. I mean, it was like, we said what the outside looked like. It was dilapidated, but inside it was like people had been there a lot, like squatters.
There's
like
graffiti on the
there's
walls,
graffiti
broken
all over,
furniture, cobwebs,
old
dust,
mattresses. It's like looks like a lot of people have been in and out of this place. I mean,
in a bigger city, it would be a fucking crack house.
Right? Yeah.
But yeah, so he finds this one piece of fabric. He's like, oh, I'm going to take.
This one piece of fabric sticking out to me.
Yeah, it was really odd. We cut to Jennifer and Max. They're on the Ferris wheel talking at the local town carnival, and she tells them about how she may have to have surgery, and she's all messed up because her mother died in surgery during what was supposed to be a routine operation. So she's all like messed up with that. Jennifer goes home, and as soon as she enters the house, we can hear her parents fucking.
Dude.
And I mean proper fucking.
You're the king. You're the king.
I mean, the stepmom tomorrow must have the keys to Pound Town because she is loud, loving it, and taking control. The mayor of Pound Town gave her the keys to the city.
Dude, it's pretty funny. We did mention it earlier, but like we talked about you could tell there's some tension between the stepmom and the stepdaughter. And, you know, she says something to the effect of, like, I don't like Tamara. You know, just like, and the dad's just like, oh, come on, honey. And, like, part of it is just like, she's hot. Come on, honey. Get with the program. I'm an old fuddy-duddy.
She is an attractive woman.
She is young and hot. And apparently, she's got the keys to Pound Town. And she lets me drive sometimes.
So Jennifer goes to her room and then for some reason just decides to drop her heart monitor into her fish tank, which I don't get why. It's not really clear. It's like, there it goes.
I can tell she's just like pissed off because she can't have coffee, she can't have tea, she can't have alcohol. Her boyfriend's kind of being, aloof. Her dad's banging her hot stepmom, so she's no longer the object of her affection. So she's just pissed off, and and the way I took it is like her little rebellion, like, I'm not gonna wear this monitor. Fuck
so
that.
Even if you don't want to wear it, like, I don't know, throw it in the fish tank. It just seemed weird.
Yeah.
And so outside we see Dr. Giggles looking up at her through the window. He's down on the street, and Stu and Diane, they pull back up now, and you think they're gonna go back in and maybe let Dougie Doug and Leon out.
Right? Because it's pitch black now. When they went in, it was daytime.
It's now night.
Yeah, so, nope, they don't give a fuck.
They don't even go. They go back into Stu's house. And they sneak upstairs past the little brother who's playing Dr. Mario.
Yes.
And I thought this is for us old school gamers. But I know he's playing the game with like the kind of controller you'd use for like a flying game like Top Gun or some other flight game, which to me would just make that
Afterburn or something.
Yeah,
like that.
Afterburn. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, I hated using those kind of controllers for any game other than a flying game.
Me
It's
too.
so hard. But and you're talking to Mario, you're trying to line up things perfectly and turn them around. Like,
I mean,
that would be so hard to play that game with that kind of controller.
You could.
You could play any game with it,
Yeah.
but it's so
awkward.
And yeah, like why? Like you have the regular Nintendo controller.
Right.
It comes with the system. I mean, you have it. Use it.
I did like that it was the Dr. Mario music.
Yeah, it was everything about that was correct.
Because a lot of times when you watch those movies or watch movies, it's like they have the wrong effects.
Oh yeah,
of the game.
Like almost every movie we've done so far, the stuff had the wrong music to the wrong game, and then even Evil Bong had the wrong music because they were playing like Super Mario on the Super Nintendo, and he had the wrong music to that too.
Good callback on the video game music.
Yeah, so he's rocking Dr. Mario. And up in Stu's room, he pulls out some black lingerie that he wants Diane to wear.
Dude.
But he tells her he stole it from his mother before his parents left for their trip. And what the fuck, man? That is so fucking weird.
That's gross.
I mean, maybe Stu has a serious Oedipus complex here, but what's even more fucked up is that she agrees to this.
Yeah, she's a little put off by it at first. She's like, this is your mom's. You really wanted to wear this. And he's like, come on, babe. And she's like, okay.
I'm pretty sure if I was ever with a girl and pulled out some lingerie that I told her belonged to my mother,
she'd be like,
and said, I want you to wear it, she would probably kick me in the fucking balls,
right?
Call me all sorts of crazy perverted names and just storm out.
As she should.
As she rightfully should, yeah. Right. But instead she's like, all right, if I'm going to gear up, you got to gear up. And she hands him a condom.
To which he replies, what's this?
Yes.
I mean, I know that early 90s was like the That's
Did he
when
say,
condoms...
what's this, or where did you get this? Because I thought she says gym class after that.
I thought he said, what's this? But anyway, maybe she said, where'd you get this? But still, this was kind of funny because this was definitely like the 90s. Like, this was a big thing in the 90s was condoms. Like, I remember TLC, they had condoms on their clothes and everything.
They do.
Dude, the early 90s was like condoms everywhere.
Well, because, the big AIDS break was just, in the 80s was coming to,
And
out
like
there.
awareness was big time in the early 90s. Huge.
So she gives him the condom to put on, and Stu goes to the bathroom to try to figure out how to put this wacky thing on. Like, what do I do with this? Downstairs, we see Giggles enter the house, and he walks right behind the brother, still rocking out on Dr.
I love the
Mario.
kid sitting down playing Dr. Mario because he has that stupid look on his face, like
that video game trance.
He's got
stare.
his mouth wide open, just staring at the screen.
We've all had it.
Oh, yeah.
Every kid gamer grew in the 80s who played. You all had that mouth that gapes in there.
Sure, that was
Everybody's
me.
had it. Stu drops the condom into the toilet and tries to fish it out with a toothbrush.
Ugh.
Meanwhile, Diane is put on the lingerie, and she does look pretty hot in it, I will say that. She leaves the room to find a thermostat because she's cold. And Dr. Giggles sneaks up on her, grabs her and covers up her mouth. He tells her that she'll catch her death by cold running around dressed like that. And he goes on to say that he has to take her temperature, and he pulls out, I swear to God, like a foot-long thermometer that has a spike on the end of it. Where he gets these wonderful toys, I don't know.
Dude, it's so crazy because he grabs her. He's just like, shh, be quiet, be quiet, be quiet. And he takes his hand. His hand looks gigantic on her, too.
Yeah, it's like Andre the Giant on Mean Gene's face.
Right.
It's that kind of...
And he takes it back, and she's quiet, and he goes, now open your mouth and lift up your tongue. And she
That's
does
the thing.
it?
She fucking does this. She fucking does this willingly. And she's like, okay. And Dr. Giggles puts it on her tongue and then just takes a hand and like, jams it like through under her tongue and out through the back of her head, killing her.
splattering blood
Like,
on his face.
Are you kidding me? Why in the blue fuck would you just willingly let that happen? Like, you could scream, you could struggle, you could try anything, but it's like, he's coming at you with a foot-long thermometer with a spike on the end of it, and he's going to shove it in your mouth. You're just like, all right,
Cool.
go cool.
You're a doctor. I trust you.
But maybe she's like, you know what? Fuck it. My boyfriend's having me wear his mother's lingerie. You know what?
And he doesn't know what a condom is.
Yeah, you know what? This is as good as it gets for me. Let's just end this now. Maybe that's her point is, because I don't know what else she would be thinking. We go back to Stu. He exits the bathroom and crawls into bed. Now, this scene is goddamn ridiculous because the bed defies all laws of space. This bed is like the TARDIS of beds. And when we see it, it's maybe a queen-size bed at best.
Now that's being generous.
Very generous. So Stu seems someone lying on the bed under the covers. He sits on the edge of the bed to take off his pants.
And the first thing to say, Dr. Giggles is a pretty big dude.
Big guy.
Yeah,
and his girlfriend is skinny and
we just saw the drastic size difference.
vast. Yeah.
We just talked about how he had Andre the Giant hands.
Yeah. So when he does this, he's less than arm's reach from this person. Like, this person's knee is basically touching Stu's back. That's how close they are. But so next he lowers himself off the bed so he can slide himself underneath the sheet and like belly crawl, like he's going like in the army, like belly crawling under barbed wire his way up the bed. And this is where the bed becomes a fucking TARDIS, because the amount of distance he crawls under the sheets is fucking absurd.
It's like 10 feet.
He belly crawls across this mile wide bed to find Dr. Giggle just laying there all curled up on his side, looking at him
Under
like
the blankets.
he was like blinking his eyes at him. And Giggle says, "I hope you have protection." And he holds up the scalpel. Stu screams. We cut to the brother still playing Nintendo, who for some reason like doesn't react to the scream at all, really.
I thought he like glanced up but didn't care that much. He's
Maybe,
like,
whatever. And we go back to Giggles, who is standing over the bed. Stu's lying on the bed now, dead, with the sheet pulled up to his chest, and we see a large pool of blood spreading out from his crotch.
Oh!
So I'm guessing Giggles gave Stu a very unwanted circumcision.
Some decapitation.
Yes, some more decapitation, if you will. But I just can't go that fucking bed, man. It's insane. Like, why? How does that even work?
That was pretty ridiculous.
So next we see Giggles entering Jennifer's house after Jennifer leaves. So she storms out, Giggles enters. The father hears the door close and thinks it's Jennifer, so he gets out of bed to go look. But the mom's like, "Fuck that! Stay here with me. I don't."
Yeah, this is pretty.
And
funny.
Dad's like, "She just lost her mom. She's upset." He's like, "You just lost your wife, and you're fine."
You just got done fucking me.
Yeah.
I wish he just goes, "A man has needs," but he doesn't.
So the father's like, "Hey, I'm gonna go look for her. She's not in the house. I'm going out to look for her."
And he goes, "Come with me."
Yeah, and she's like, "Nope."
She goes, "Nope."
She's like, "Fuck that. I'm staying right here."
Instead of being like, "You bitch, how dare you? It's my daughter."
Yeah.
He looks at her, and I think for a second he goes, "Yeah, she's still pretty fucking hot."
Yeah, I swear that's what it is.
Whatever.
Like, fine, I'm
Just
out of here.
Let me know when she comes home.
If she comes home, tell her to stay put.
He doesn't do anything.
Nope. Nope. So she's like, and she even somehow even goes so far to say she's trying to tear us apart. She's willingly trying to take us apart. So after the father leaves, she goes to the freezer and gets out, the giant tub of ice cream. And we jump to the local town carnival again, where Corrine and Normie have convinced Max to come with them to some secret party.
Yeah, there's a secret party at the school.
Yes, at the school. Meanwhile, Giggles attacks Tamara right after she finishes the last bite of ice cream.
Yeah, we cut back to Jenny's house.
Jennifer. He straps her to a chair, scolds her for eating so much sugar, and then pulls out this old pump from his doctor bag along these long plastic tubes. He sets up the pump, turns it on. He flips the switch, it turns on, and then he pushes this red button. And when he pushes the red button, like the small, blender blade comes out of the end of the tube, and it's like,
right?
And then it retracts back into the tube, and then he shoves the tube down Tamara's throat.
Yeah, he says something to the effect of, "Okay, well, you've eaten all that sugar. I guess we gotta take care of that." Shoves the tube into her throat.
Yeah.
But in all actuality, he'd have to shove that tube about, almost 2 feet, 1.5 feet.
Well, I will say he had a lot of tube. When he was pulling out of the back, I'm not questioning length of tube, but I'm saying he had plenty of tube on that one. That one I'm not going to, was not so ridiculous. So he turns the pump again, and we start seeing all the ice cream get pumped out of her system, and it's going into this bowl on the floor. And he says, "Yes, I know, this sucks." So there's our other pun. And after the ice cream, okay, all the ice cream's out, he then pushes the red button, and and now we start seeing all this bloody goo come out of the tube, and it's mixing in with the ice cream. It's swirling around in the bowl. It's pretty kind of gross, but it's not that bad. So stepmom's dead. She's gone. We cut to Max and the two girls at the secret party, which Aaron said it turns out to be like the music room of the high school.
The music room of the high school,
where it's just. It's
full.
It's full. It's a high school makeout orgy.
Yeah.
Is what this is. It's a fucking makeout orgy going on in this room.
There's 12 couples.
It's exact dozens of people, 12 couples everywhere.
Hard making out.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just tongues slapping around, feeling butts and boobs.
It's hard. I mean, they're on chairs, they're on the floor, they're up against
falling
the wall,
over,
they're on the piano. They don't know. It's everywhere. They're hanging from the ceiling.
It's so weird.
I've never heard of anything like this in high school. Like, what is happening at this town?
Is this a band thing?
Yeah. But I don't think. Yeah. Where's Allison Hannigan in her flute?
Yeah.
She's right at home with this party. So Max is showing Corinne how to play the saxophone after he shows her how to finger the buttons. He tells her all that's left is to blow the thing. And dear God, what comes next is so weird and awkward. Corinne basically just starts giving the saxophone a blowjob. She is filleting the shit out of that mouthpiece and reed.
Yes. Yes, she is.
I mean, it's supposed to be sexy, but damn, it just looks fucking awkward and weird. It's not a turn. It's like, God. I was like, oh, what are you doing?
I liked it.
But apparently so did Max, because it worked on Max, because they just start making out.
Yeah, plus she's got the pans back, and she's got her legs spread open as wide as they go, and her dress is just barely covering her panties.
Yeah,
she's holding the saxophone between her legs. She throws the saxophone to the side, and they start making out, and they just fall to the floor.
Yeah,
making out.
And Normie's right next to him, watching this.
And she's just watching it. I think there was a little bit of who's gonna get the guy kind of thing, because she rolls her eyes and leaves.
Because at the very when we first meet them, they see these two blonde twins, like the two big twins, like there's the mountain twins or something like that. Like let's go climb the peaks,
twins,
like let's go climbing, and they go off to get them. Like so, I think there's slight girls in competition, like who's gonna get the guy. I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think she gets jealous that Corinne got Max, and she's left out. So she gets up and leaves to go find Jennifer, which she instantly does out in the carnival, like in the crowd of all the people. She like instantly finds Jennifer.
She went out to specifically go find her, but she went out and runs into her.
Normie tells Jennifer to follow her, and she'll take Jennifer to find Max. Back at Jennifer's house, Giggles finds Jennifer's heart monitor, and this triggers another flashback. This one shows us younger Giggles and his father sitting around the bed where the dead mother/wife lays. The father says something about a broken heart, like she died of a broken heart or something like that. And then the two of them go from sad and orange to like start giggling.
Crying. Like the father like puts his hands on it, his head in his hands. He's crying, and then he starts kind of chuckling.
Yeah.
To which the young Dr. Giggles starts chuckling too.
Yeah, they're giggling, they're looking at each other,
eyes,
and they're laughing maniacally. And they're giggling like madmen. They fade back to the present, and Giggles is giggling up a storm. He calms down. He finds a picture of Jennifer and takes it with him, saying that he's going to make his father proud and carry on his work. Back at the carnival, Normie leads Jennifer to the makeout orgy where she sees Max making out with Corinne.
Yeah.
She catches him in the act. You know, she's like blah blah blah.
So
and
how
she storms
far
out.
away is this carnival?
Exactly. It
to the school.
It would have to be like right next to school.
Right.
Like everything in this town is like right next to each other.
Right next to each other.
Makes zero sense.
Everything's right on top of each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, because so they're at the carnival. Normie comes back, finds Jen, tells her about it, and they go back, and like they're still making on the floor, unless they're like really, 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 really into making out. Like, no time has passed.
Yeah, exactly, and keep in mind, and then you have Giggles going from house to house, like this house to this house, and back, and like everything is like right on top of each other.
And he doesn't have a car.
He doesn't. He's not anymore. I mean, we saw him leave with one, but we never see him in it again.
They're not seeing him driving anyway. No. Yeah.
So Jennifer storms off. She leaves, and we see Giggles standing in the crowd, like watching her storm off. So she's left the high school and is already storming off through the carnival. So the carnival has to be like right outside the school, basically.
And Giggles is there.
And Giggles is just standing there.
And he's got a picture that he stole from
Jennifer's house.
A framed picture of Jennifer, and just so happens.
Yeah.
Whoop, there she is.
And can we also comment on the fact that just how inconspicuous Dr. Giggles looks in this scene? No one seems bothered or even a little unnerved by the weird, crazy-looking guy dressed as a doctor.
Wearing a suit from the 40s.
50s, yeah.
with a white lab coat on.
A giant black medical bag just standing menacingly in the crowd. And, I mean, he's not like he's trying to hide in the shadows or anything like that. He's just standing in the open. And keep in mind, this is a small town with the one doctor that everybody knows. And everybody's like fine with this crazy guy just standing there. Nobody even blinks twice or looks twice at this guy. Jennifer sees her father in the crowd looking for her. So she's like, oh, shit. She decides to hide in like the Hall of Mirrors or the Mirror Maze or whatever.
Dude, the labyrinth.
Yeah, the labyrinth. Max follows Jennifer in, and Corinne follows Max in, and of course, Dr. Giggles follows them all in.
Sure.
So while in the maze, this scene kind of drags out, and there's some really weird special effects going on.
Really
trippy, like it's like something I would expect to see in like a 70s like acid movie or something like that. I mean, we just close up like Corinne's mouth, like smiling, and like Doctor here. It's weird.
Like I understand.
Like I should be hearing like I don't know, like Pink Floyd in play in the background or some shit. Like it is weird.
Yeah. I understand it's a house of mirrors. It's a fun house. You start to get lost, but it's like they take it to a next level.
Yeah.
You know, like they even have like echoing effects where he's talking. You know, it's like it's crazy echoing effects and like different people talking and like a loop of laughter going over.
It's so crazy.
It's like
it's
just
so weird.
Drop acid now.
Yeah.
You know?
So Corinne runs into like a dead end, which is, there's like these plexiglass clear like dead end walls all over the place. And she
Yeah.
just runs face first right into it. She smashes her nose. It's bleeding. Giggles pops up behind her saying that needs a Band-Aid and begins to giggle like an insane person.
As Jennifer does so often.
Jennifer comes to a wall with an arrow on it. She pushes it in on the wall, and in true like Scooby-Doo fashion, like the wall spins around and transported to another room.
Right.
Like, how would anybody know to do that? And like, I don't know, the liability on that is so like somebody get crushed. And
another thing about this,
this is an arrow pointing down. It doesn't like push here. It's just an arrow pointing down.
And this is maybe as nitpicking, but this is also a big carnival. There's no one else in this house.
Exactly. There's nobody. But it's packed outside the carnival. Everybody in town is at this fucking carnival.
It's fucking hopping.
Yeah, but nobody else. That's a great point. Nobody else is in this ride. Even though when they run in, we see like a line of people outside of it, handing off tickets, and she just runs right in. Nobody's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" So now, as soon as she steps away from the spinning wall, and I mean the very instant she steps off the spinning part, the wall spins around again, and this time, stuck to the wall by a giant cartoon fucking Band-Aid is Corrine. And I swear I expected to see the word like acne like written across this Band-Aid.
This Band-Aid is like 3 feet by 8 inches.
Yeah, it's
like the size of a skateboard.
It's the size of a skateboard.
Yeah, and it's just like taped over her mouth, and her head's taped to that wall.
Yeah, and she's like dead, and it's covering her mouth and her nose. You can't really tell when she's dead, not because they show close of her eyes, and she could still be alive.
They look a little discolored.
Yeah, but it's like, I guess she's dead, but
I'm assuming she's dead.
Yeah, but they don't really do a good job of explaining that one. Giggles now pops up behind Jennifer. Startled, she falls backwards, crashes through a mirror. She gets up, runs off.
Oh, but did you remember his pun?
Oh, not this.
Talking about the Band-Aid, he goes, because she looks at it, looks at him, looks back at her, and goes, "Oh, don't worry, it's ouchless."
Oh. So she finds the emergency exit. She opens up. She escapes. Giggles follows her out. She runs through the woods.
Yeah, okay, so, God damn it. Finds the emergency exit.
Okay, I think I know where they're going at.
Runs into the woods.
Okay, that's not what I was gonna say. The emergency exit, which takes her forever to open.
Oh yeah,
it's not a very good emergency exit if it takes like 20 times to open this thing.
Into it as hard as you can, and then immediately
that funhouse is not up to code.
Running back to the crowd, which is a huge crowd.
Yeah,
she just runs willy nilly.
That's a great point. Like, I'd be running my ass into the crowd where there's people. Like, help me. No, she runs off into the dark woods and then falls down a goddamn hill.
And fell down like a champ.
She did fall like a champ.
Holy shit, that stunt person, whoever it was, boom, boom, boom. They fell down hard.
Yeah. It wasn't a very big hill, but she took it. Yeah, it was a good fall. Giggles shows up. He kneels down over her, but Jennifer hits him over the head with a rock, and she runs off again.
He heels down, and he starts to grab her, and she whacks him, and he goes, it slowly falls back. It was a perfect reaction because he was quiet for a second. He's like, yeah. I could see myself doing that. That was awesome.
So she's rescued by our 2 cops because they hit her with their car.
Yeah, and she runs out of the woods, and she's right back, right outside Dr. Giggles' old house.
Yeah, she basically ends up back by Giggles' house.
So we have the school, the carnival, and Dr. Giggles' house all within, a jogging distance, really close.
Yeah, really close. And there's woods with a big steep hill. The layout of this town
is crazy.
Nonsense. So after she gets hit by a car, the cops pick her up, and they take her. Dr. Giggles slips away back into his house.
Yeah.
They take her to the police station, where Max is already there somehow, pleading with the chief and telling him about Dr. Giggles. Of course, the chief and none of the other cops believe him about the killer doctor. Dr. Chamberlain shows up to take Jennifer away to do an EKG on her to make sure she's doing okay after this strenuous activity.
Yeah, the chief. They keep panning back and forth between Max and the chief.
Yeah.
The chief and the other cop. the chief, and every time he's trying to eat Chinese food
with
chopsticks, and he keeps failing miserably.
Yeah, he's trying to eat rice with chopsticks, and every time they're just falling through. He can't do it.
I don't know why, but I just love that gag.
I like it too. I noticed that too. I was like, that's actually kind of that's smart.
Subtle,
like,
it's fun.
Yeah, I thought it's subtle but good. I agree with you wholeheartedly. So the chief sends our 2 cops off to find Jennifer's father. But before they leave, the black cop presses the older cop for info on Dr. Rendell's son, which being Dr. Giggles. The black cop's the only one who thinks that these kids are saying what they're saying has some sort of merit. He's the only one.
There's something to this.
And he demands to know if this killer doctor is Rendell's son. And in the locker room, the older cop, he comes clean, tells the black cop a story about when he was much younger and new on the force. This kicks off another flashback. And this one is fucking bonkers, so hold on to your seats. The older cop, now young, new in the force, is back in 1957.
Yep.
One night, he's in the station alone drinking because everyone else is off searching for Dr. Rendell's son. And that's when he starts hearing giggling.
And that's what you do in the 50s when you're a cop.
He just drank.
Had a couple drinks.
He follows the giggling downstairs into the bowels of the police station where they have a morgue, which again just seems.
Well, they even said they transferred the bodies to the police station.
Okay. Because I was like, why? It's like just a nasty, dirty furniture. There's nothing clean or house sterile about this.
No, but it's all the victims of.
Yeah, it's full of dead bodies of Dr. Rendell's victims. The giggling gets louder. He follows it to a body. And the cop, he pulls the sheet off of the body to reveal a naked woman. Now, this woman looks so painfully fake, it's absurd. And she looks like she was made in a Jell-O mold. I mean, she looks like she's made out of gelatin in a mold.
It's not a very good...
And this is where it gets fucking crazy. The stomach of the woman begins to move as if there's something inside of her. And that's when we see a scalpel poke up through her skin between her breasts, slice its way down her torso. The cop falls back and freaks like, what the shit? Yeah. Which rightfully, get that. As bloody hands reach out the woman's torso, pulls back her skin, and then followed by the bloody, naked, young Dr. Giggles emerges from her dead corpse.
Dude,
and this
covered in blood.
It's fucking insane. It's so fucking insane.
It's crazy.
It's So now we hear the older cop's voiceover. He starts saying that this is how Dr. Rendell got his son out of the house by sewing him up inside the corpse of his dead wife. He said the cop passes out because he was drunk and fear and all. He just passed out. And when he came to, he says the boy was gone, everything was clean, and the mother's body was sewn back up like it never happened. Whoa. Okay, let's hold the phone. Let's unwrap this here for a second. First of all, when we see the mother's body, there are 0 stitches on her. There's no signs of cuts or wounds. So there's no
unless it was through the side. I mean, I'm playing devil's advocate.
But I'm saying the body looks fine.
Yeah.
Yet her father slices her open to hide his son inside of her. I have so many questions about this.
I mean,
how's the boy even breathe in there?
Yeah.
It's like the skin's sewed up, it's airtight. How does he breathe? 2, you're telling me that the father had enough time to do this, hollow out a body, while an angry mob was breaking down his door, wanting to kill him. Plus, he would have had to, like you said, he would have had to take out all the organs, and I would probably most of her skeletal frame to make room for the boy. And keep in mind, the boy, it's not a baby or a toddler. It's a 12-year-old boy. His legs, he would have to have shoved his legs down her legs and wore her like a fucking
skin suit,
like an exoskeleton skin suit.
God.
And he had the wherewithal to put a scalpel inside with him and time it right so he would come out in the morgue. What?
It's too fucking crazy. I mean, but I fucking love it.
Yeah, as cool as this idea was, and it's a great effect, it would be so fucking impossible. It's just, it's just so stupid and ridiculous to actually think about this happening, but at the same time, it's awesome in the same way.
It's so awesome because it's so terrifying. It's so crazy.
Because the boy gets out of her, he drops to the floor,
And
he's like missing like all of his teeth.
He's missing a lot of his teeth, so he looks extra crazy.
He looks like a feral child raised by wolves, covered in blood, holding a sky. He's going. It's like Jesus Christ. Okay, so holy fuck. So the older cop goes on to say that he never told anyone about this because he was 20 years old, he was drinking, and no one would believe him, so he just never said anything. And then he goes on to recite some nursery rhyme about Dr. Rendell. You know, it's like their version of the Freddy rhyme.
Yeah,
they
have like a...
There's like 2 or 3 different versions of this rhyme throughout this movie. It's always different.
Yeah, I kind of liked it. I didn't write it down, but I liked it.
I didn't write it down either, but Stu says one that's completely different.
Yeah.
And then the cop says one that's different. And also, by the way, this cop wears a 49ers baseball cap throughout the entire movie, which I'm pretty sure is not regulation.
No, but
I've never seen a cop wearing a sports team hat to work in full uniform.
Seem pretty loose at this department, honestly. Drinking on the job, not arresting any of the kids, just let them go. 49ers baseball cap. Kids screaming about...
I'm just saying every other cop is in, like, they're in full uniform, they're done up properly.
Yeah.
And this guy's just like, sporting his 49er cap. It's just, what?
Support the Niners.
So
those were the days of Joe Montana, man.
Actually, 92?
Yeah. That was the end of Joe Montana.
I'm saying, because he got traded, he went to Kansas City in, like, around that time, maybe 93, 94. No, because we got the Rams in 94, 95, and had been in Kansas City. I think that was Steve Young era.
It was either the very end of Joe Montana or very beginning of Steve Young.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the Moon Goons love us talking about 49ers football in the early 90s.
Yeah. Anyway. I don't care. I love Joe Montana, by the way. He was like my man. I loved me some Montana. Anyway, so where was it? We go back to Jennifer's house. Giggles now overhears a message on the answering machine from the police chief about Jennifer saying, okay, she's here, she's fine, call me back, whatever. So now the father, he returns home. He listens to the message, but now there's a follow-up message from Dr. Giggles, says that I'm your new doctor, and I'm standing right behind you.
To which he turns around.
Giggles turns on this fucking powered, like, circular bone saw. The father turns around, and there's Dr. Giggles like, hi, and just slices him across the stomach with the bone saw. The father falls to the floor dead. Now, okay, again, we have to talk about this message because this makes zero fucking sense. Like, again, how the blue fuck would he be able to pull this off? I mean, remember, this is back in 1992, before cell phones. So that means he would have had to have left the house to go somewhere else to make the call, to leave that message on the phone, because he could not have used the house line. And even if he did do that, he would have had to get back to Jennifer's house to stand in the perfect place without being seen, hoping not to get seen, and wait for the father to show up and hope he listens to the messages without seeing Dr. Giggles behind him in order to pull this elaborate gag off.
I'm right there with you.
It's like, what?
I'm right there with you. Maybe some of our listeners don't understand, but yes, you could not. Like,
it's impossible. You could not do
this. Unless, and I don't know if different answering machines were a little different, if you could leave a message, of actual message, just by hitting the button and recording into the message. Some machines would do that, because if you're going to leave a note for someone, you would just push down the button and say, hey, Mom, I'm going to be over at Jim's house, bye, and you'd go. So that could have been.
All right, that could make sense, but again, I don't remember... I don't remember my answering machines in 92 being able to do that. Maybe a little later, but I don't know. Maybe, but still, otherwise, this. I
was following you all the way.
It would be impossible to do this.
Oh, I love it, but there's still that possibility. Just self-record.
So, like I said, again, it's just fucking insane. Giggles spouts off another pun after killing the doctor. Giggles to himself. The older cop shows up, enters the house looking for the father.
The older cop shows up. He just walks in.
He doesn't even knock. He just walks right in. He's like, not hello, Mr. So-and-so. It's the police.
Like I said, it's a loose town, man.
Just walk right in.
Walks right in.
Fuck warrants. So the cop finds the father's body on the kitchen floor in a pool of blood.
Doesn't turn on the lights.
Exactly. This is a cop. And the rest of the room, the house has lights on, but the kitchen's dark. And there's a dead body on the floor.
And there's just like moonlight coming in.
Yeah. And he walks there's obviously he walks to the door where the light switch would easily have to have been.
Had to have been.
But he goes right in blind into a dark room. Again, shitty cop here. Playing a little too loose here.
Doesn't even whip out his flashlight.
No. Just does not. Again, Giggles pops up from behind the cop, stabs him through the back of the neck, like at the base of the skull.
Yeah, he sticks a scalpel in the base of his skull.
While giggling, as always. The cop stands up, he manages to stand up, turns around, sees that's Dr. Giggles, and he says something to him like, "You owe me 35 years, you son of a bitch."
You owe me 35 years of sleep.
Okay, I didn't get the sleep part.
Yeah.
You son of a bitch. And he pulls out his gun, he manages to get a shot off, hitting Giggles in the side of the stomach, but then the cop falls to the floor dead as Giggles and laughs in pain. Like he laughs and giggles the pain away.
Yeah.
Next, we watch as Giggles performs surgery on himself to remove the bullet. And again, the whole time he's just giggling and laughing to cover up the pain.
But it's like changed. It's like the actor does a pretty good job of switching the giggle or laugh up to, like, you can tell he's doing it to cover the pain. So
yeah.
And I wish I could do it justice, but I can't. But like, it's a different type of giggle. It's like high stress, like this hurts.
Oh yeah, it definitely is. I mean, you can definitely tell.
I got to tip my cap to the actor for making like. He makes that distinction. I
didn't say this in the opening when we talk about credits, but Larry, I think it's Drake, the guy who played Dr. Giggles, he actually won like an Emmy, like a daytime Emmy or something, like for his recurring role in L.A. Law. Like he's won it. You know, he's an accomplished character actor. Back at the police station,
yeah, he's doing the surgery. He's laying down. He's got mirrors above him.
Yeah.
As he's doing the surgery, and he's talking to himself. He's like, scalpel. Sponge suction.
Yeah, and the very first shot of this sequence, he's wearing two different gloves, so it looks like there's two different people. Like he's handing the scalpel from one hand to another. But it then turns out it's just himself. Back at the police station, the black cop and Max, they're scanning for similar cases on the computer, and they
ancient fucking computer.
They find a case of an escaped mental patient from the Terrawood Mental Hospital, and boom, it just so happens that Terrawood Hospital is written on that scrap of fabric the cop found at the Giggles house at the beginning of the movie. Really? That's a bit of a fucking stretch.
Really?
Yeah, but that's where he links everything together. So the cop leaves, telling Max to stay behind, wait for his parents, but of course Max just sneaks out the window after the cop leaves. Which I found this to be really stupid, because why not just go out the goddamn door after the cop leaves? Like, why?
The cop's already left.
He's already left. You're there by yourself. Like, why squeeze out the tiny little window where you can just walk out the door?
Because he's a badass marshal. Fuck you.
He can't be that much of a badass. He plays a fucking saxophone. No badasses in high school playing saxophone. They were all guitars and drums, man.
Maybe in the 80s, because there was some awesome saxophones in the 80s, but definitely not the 90s. The 80s, I mean...
You think Kenny G got all the tang in high school?
No, I'm just saying, dude, in the 80s, dude, Huey Lewis and News had some sweet saxophone, and a couple other bands had sweet saxophones.
I'm not saying they didn't have sweet sax, but I'm telling you, the guy who plays saxophone in Huey Lewis News was not the one all the girls...
That's why he was the News, and Huey Lewis was Huey Lewis.
Yeah, exactly. Come on. No girls that get her panties wet for the sax guy.
Zing.
So anyway, we see Giggles calling the chief of police, posing as Jennifer's father, wanting to know where she is, and the chief just gives him all the information. Says that she's at Dr. Chamberlain's office.
Calling from a car phone.
From a car phone.
From the car that he stole.
Yes. So there we go. That's
back
the one
in the car now.
The other time we see him in the car. So we jumped at Jennifer on the exam table, hooked up to machines, getting her EKG test done.
Which said it would take 40 minutes.
40 minutes, yeah.
Jesus fucking Christ. I don't know what it was like in the 90s, but you know what that takes now? 5 minutes.
Dude, I remember I had an EKG test in the Army for my flight physical in 2003 or 4, and it took like 20 minutes at that time. It was
Really?
Yeah.
Jesus.
And then the one I had for my pre-op, for my pre-cert, yeah, it was like 5 minutes or 2 minutes. It was like done. I'm like,
Yeah.
Because like, oh, we're going to do EKG. I'm like, fuck, I'm going to be here for an hour or something like now. It's like hooking me up. I'm like, oh, done. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh,
Like,
all right.
max 10
Yeah.
minutes, and that's if you're wiggling around a lot or they can't get a good read. That's
Yeah.
max 10 minutes.
So, shit, where was it? Yeah, so she has a nightmare on the table of Dr. Giggles trying to kill her on the table, trying to via open heart surgery, but she snapped out of it. We're gonna skip over it. She wakes up, everything's fine, but then Giggles does show up. He stabs
Yeah,
Dr.
he shows
He
up.
shows up. He stabs Dr. Chamberlain in the back with a pair of scissors. Jennifer scrambles away, backs into a corner.
The doctor falls to the floor.
Yeah, Chamberlain, but then grabs something and stabs Giggles in the leg.
Yeah, okay, so, all right, so the doctor got Chamberlain, right?
Yes.
Dr. Chamberlain gets stabbed in the back, falls to the floor.
Yes.
Giggles is trying to get Jennifer, saying, I can help you, I can help you.
Yeah.
Chamberlain showing, like, squirreling around the floor. Does he pull the scissors out of his back?
That's what I couldn't tell if he pulled him out of his back or just grabbed something else. Because to pull him out of that back, that angle would have been very hard.
Because when he stabs him in the leg, what he pulls out of his leg is a pair of hemostats. It's not what he got stabbed in the back. So he does stab him in the leg with something different.
Yeah, so it had to be something different.
It's a hemostats is what he stabs in the leg with.
Yeah, well, there
it's
you
those
go.
little things that clip, like you can, a lot of people use them to smoke weed with. They clip together, they hold tight. They look like scissors, and you push them down, they hold.
Alligator clips type
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, but they're called hemostats in
Okay.
the medical field.
So yeah, a large pair of those. And then Dr. Chamberlain like pulls out this long metal rod or
Out of
pole
the examining
out of the
table.
examining table. Like what? Where
So-
the fuck did that come from? It's like one of those canes that has like a hidden sword inside. He just rips this thing out of the exam table.
Now to his defense, because I was like, holy shit, on some old exam tables, they would use these poles to pull out to do a couple different things, to either extend the table longer or to actually put different pieces of equipment. They would hold up like either an IV bag, stirrups for legs for like a pelvic exam. So I understand where that came from.
Okay.
So
I kind of thought that's what that would be for, but it's just so funny because he whips
Yeah.
in such a fluid motion and it comes off so easily and so quickly, like you would think it'd be attached.
It's like he's fucking Zorro.
Yeah. But not to be outdone,
No.
Giggles responds by pulling out a giant fucking reflex hammer from his bag.
It's so big.
Again, I would fully expect to see the word acne written on this thing.
Now,
And but the two of them go into a full-fledged sword fight with a pole and a giant reflex hammer.
I love it. An examining table pole.
It's like fucking Inigo Montoya and Dread Pirate Roberts like sword fighting on the cliffs of the
Cliffs of Insanity.
Thank you. Yeah.
It's so awesome.
Eventually, Giggles disarms Chamberlain, knocks him down to the ground with the reflex hammer.
Hits him in the knee,
Hits
of
him
course.
in the knee.
Says your reflexes look fine, and uppercuts him basically with it, knocking him back.
Knocking it back into the ground. And then Giggles decides it's time to check Dr. Chamberlain's blood pressure. So he whips out the world's largest blood pressure cuff.
Holy
This
shit.
thing looks like it's made for a fucking elephant.
It's so big.
He wraps it around Chamberlain's neck, and just like Hans and Franz, he pumps it up.
Oh, that was.
You like that one? That is a data reference for our listeners.
About the same time period.
Yeah, it really was the same time period.
4 or 5
David Spade,
yeah,
that was starting it. That was a time period.
Yeah. Oh, that was Dana Carvey and
I
Kevin
say Spade,
Nealon.
yeah, Dana Carvey, Kevin Nealon.
Yeah.
Yeah, but still
Yeah,
same
totally,
cast, man.
totally.
Same crew. Now, for some reason, Chamberlain doesn't struggle at all during this. He doesn't try to get away.
Or simply unvelcro it.
Yeah, he does nothing. Both his hands are free. He just sits there and takes it, just like Diana did. And he dies. The puffed up.
Pumps, and you see his face all
swelling up.
And I was thinking,
I was hoping it's going to explode.
God, something blow up his eyes, some blood shoot out of his face. Unfortunately, nothing.
Yeah, I will say I was very disappointed by the lack of gore in this movie. Creative kills, but very little gore. Like, I was so disappointed.
Yeah.
Such missed opportunities for gore.
I agreed, because I thought this was I was like, this could be my favorite kill.
Or if his head doesn't explode, it could just pop off.
or they show like a vein kind of popping on the side of his head.
Something
I'm thinking,
needs to
okay,
explode.
I want something needs to explode. Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, he just dies. Jennifer tries to make a run for it, but gets grabbed by Giggles, who injects her with what looks like Drano, and she just goes unconscious.
Yeah. Instant knockout.
Everything in the
So
every
kill.
syringe. I'm just saying. Can we talk about how everything in a syringe in the 80s and 90s had to be like some kind of like weird color?
Yeah.
I've never gone to a hospital and been injected with something that's neon green or blue.
It's all clear.
It's all clear, or maybe a slight like brownish tint
or hue.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I've never been injected with like blue, neon, or green shit. Like,
as a nurse, I'm really disappointed that I don't get to draw that shit up and inject that cool colored stuff into people.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, no.
Nope. So, where was I? I lost my. Sorry, guys. Anyway, she goes unconscious. The black cop arrives now at Jennifer's house. He finds the bodies of the other cop and the father, but suddenly the father jolts back to life, saying that a doctor did this.
Very dramatically.
Doctor did this. Jennifer now wakes up chained and strapped to a gurney, surrounded by all sorts of equipment in a dark, leaky cement room.
Very sterile, yeah.
Yeah, super sterile. Giggles listens to her heartbeat, saying that she has a broken heart. The black cop, well, the remaining cop, arrives at Giggles' house, runs in, makes his way down to the basement.
Hold on. Whoa. God damn it. The cop just found her dad clinging to life and his dead partner on the floor.
Yep.
Then he immediately just races the Dr. Giggles' house.
Yeah.
He doesn't call for backup.
I didn't overthink this one too, because I assumed, okay, he maybe called in the radio on his way there, because like, I gotta get here and save Jennifer, so hey, I need an ambulance here, officer down, blah blah blah.
Yeah, okay, but he does. Fuck. God damn it.
No, I thought the same thing for a while too. Like, he doesn't really check on his partner. There's a lot of things he does in this movie that are kind of like, I'm not sure a cop would do. Again, playing it very loose. Like, these cops do.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, he's not even in a cop car. He's in a fucking pickup truck.
Yeah, that's right. Where did he get the pickup truck from?
I know.
Did he steal Jennifer's dad's car? Like, why would he be in his own car?
I don't know.
That's a great fucking question. I want to know, goddammit. So, he runs down to the basement, finds the door to Dr. Rendell's old office. We cut back to Giggles, who now has a bucket of hearts. Let that sink in.
Dude.
It's a bucket of hearts.
Full of hearts.
And it's not like, and for a doctor, you would think, they're not on ice, they're not in a cooler, they're not in a freezer. It's just an old, dirty metal bucket
full of
hearts. And he starts Goldilocksing Jennifer with these hearts, like, this one's too big, this one's too small, this one's just right. Like, he fucking Goldilocks these hearts. So, and the ones that aren't used, he's just tossing them to the side. He's not like putting it back in the bucket, or something like just gone. So the cop enters the office door, and this leads him to the doctor's waiting room.
Dude, it's an underground, like, hospital wing.
I was going to comment on that as we get a little further in, but we were going to have a conversation about this.
He opens it up, and it's a long hallway with several rooms.
Yeah, before we even get there, the waiting room, first of all, the waiting room is filled with all the dead bodies of all the victims he's killed so far.
And all the dead bodies.
All the dead bodies, and all their hearts have been ripped out. They're cut open.
We're talking Corinne. Mm-hmm. We're talking the black couple.
The black couple, Corinne, the old lady, the lady with the dog, the
guy who got his dick cut off.
Yeah,
decapitation.
Stu and Diane.
Yeah.
They're all there.
They're all there, propped up. Some of them have like magazines in their hand and shit.
Yeah, it's like they're
in the waiting room and they all have their cuts. So how the fuck did he get all these bodies back?
Exactly. And again, we've talked about how close together everything is, but nobody saw him dragging bodies through this little town. And again, it's also known that the whole rest of the house, no power. It's dark, but you open up in this waiting room, and it's bright fucking fluorescent lights
it's
everywhere.
glowing.
And also for a space that's supposed to be from like the 50s, it's very modern looking. Modern colors, modern chairs. It's just covered in cobwebs, but it's very modern looking.
Good point. I didn't think about that.
So the cop, like, this is where you were saying, he goes through another door, and this leads him out to a fucking hallway lined with exam rooms and doors. It's an underground fucking hospital.
Yeah.
Like, what?
It's like an underground wing of a hospital.
Yes.
It's a long hall with several examining rooms. Like, he starts opening up rooms looking into them because, like, looking for Jennifer.
I mean, this is, like, how would this thing have even be built in the 50s? Like, how would you even go about doing this? It's impossible.
It's crazy.
It is super crazy.
Why isn't Dr. Giggles using one of these rooms? Why isn't it a rusty old falling?
Exactly.
Jesus
He's like
Christ.
in this dirty old cement garbage room. He could be in one of these like nicer
It's
exam
like my parents' old basement, you know? Jesus Christ.
So next, Giggles rolls in this cart. There's these 3 giant car batteries on it that are all hooked together. And again, like everything else in the movie, they're gigantic. They don't look like car batteries. They look like batteries that would be for like a semi-truck.
Or a boat or something,
like,
you know?
Not even a boat. I mean, but yeah, a massive, maybe like a cruise ship or
Yeah.
something. I mean, they're the biggest batteries I've ever seen. And he turns on the machine they're all attached to, and sparks fly from this monstrous homemade defibrillator thing. Hearing Jennifer's screams as Giggles is about to shock her with the paddles of this thing, the cop starts running towards the screams.
Yeah, he's talking about he has to stop her heart so he can do the surgery.
Yeah. Giggles shocks Jennifer with the paddles, killing her.
She's hooked up to a heart monitor, and she flatlines.
Yeah, she's flatlined. And now for some reason, when he does this, it causes the power in the whole building to flicker.
Which doesn't make any sense.
Thank you, because they're hooked up to car batteries, not hooked up to like the building's power source. They're
No.
not plugged into an outlet. They're hooked up to self-sustaining batteries. Why would the lights be flickering?
They wouldn't. Shit.
This is just such bullshit. The cop bursts in, orders Giggles away from Jennifer, and then Giggles says, "Oh, come on, have a heart," and throws a heart at the cop, which smacks him like right in the face.
I kind of liked it.
I liked it too.
Because the cop's like, ew.
But then he pulls like up some Batman bullshit.
Oh, yeah.
He takes the 2 paddles and like sticks them together, causing the power to go out completely. Pitch blackness, but only for like a second. It goes out, it comes back on, and Giggles is just gone.
Poof.
He pulled a fucking Batman.
What the
He's out.
Fuck. What the fuck? Jesus Christ. Maybe he's using some of those Darkman tricks he learned. Who knows?
It just makes no sense. I can't get over it. So the cop then, again, this is what I'm talking about. He's not maybe play a little loose. Instead of helping Jennifer immediately, he goes after Giggles.
Yeah.
He runs out to the hallway looking for Giggles.
You got a dead girl right there in front of you.
Who recently died. Like,
Yeah.
you could still, like, try some. He's like, nope, I'm going after Giggles. He goes out to the hallway, looks around, doesn't see Giggles. Like, all right, I guess I'll go help the girl now. Goes back in, starts CPR on Jennifer.
Such a weird waste of motion.
Yeah. It's like, help the dead girl first.
That's your priority.
Like I'm saying, these cops are playing very loose here in this town.
That's the whole reason you went there, was to save her.
Yeah, to save her. Exactly, to save her.
She's dead. She needs your help. Nah.
Meanwhile, in another room, an angry Giggles takes off his surgical gloves and his mask, and he says it's time to do what doctors do best, and the camera pans over to an old set of golf clubs.
Yes! I love that part. So that was pretty solid. I like
You like that one, huh?
I did.
So once Jennifer is alive again, because the cop did CPR on her, he unstraps her from the gurney, tells her to be quiet, and wait here while he looks for a way out. And I'm like, really? why not just go back the way you came?
And take her with you.
Exactly.
Pretty easy.
Not wait here by yourself while I go off by myself.
Do you not remember which way you went? It's down the long hall and up the stairs, asshole. Fuck.
Anyway, Jennifer gets up and follows after him. And back in the hallway, that's when Max just shows up.
Out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere. And the three of them together make it back to the waiting room that has all the corpses in it. But unbeknownst to them, Dr. Giggles has pulled an E.T. And he is blended in with the dead bodies. So how he gets from past them, he runs off to get the golf clubs, then somehow sneaks past them and hides amongst the dead bodies. He is fucking Batman, dude.
He must be. And it's not like they're all piled together.
No.
It's like they're all separate. So you can be like, oh no, there's Dougie Doug.
Like,
oh no,
oh,
there's
look,
Corinne.
there's
oh shit,
Dr.
there's
Giggles.
fucking Dr. Giggles
Just sitting there.
This massive man,
Yeah.
all dressed in surgical garb.
Surgical garb.
Fuck.
So he hits Max in the face with the golf club, sending him reeling to the floor. He then hits the gun out of the cop's hands, and this hit is a 1 in a million super hit because not only does he knock the gun out of the cop's hand, he also manages to knock all the fucking bullets out of the gun.
Yeah, he's got a revolver.
Which I have never seen this happen before in my life.
Revolver open and all the bullets are out.
Yeah, this wouldn't happen. It just wouldn't.
He's got those skills, man. The hands of a surgeon, Marshall.
Exactly. Swinging a golf club. This movie's just fucking insanity.
Doing
Pure
what
and simple.
doctors do best.
So while Giggles is swinging the club at the cop, Jennifer's fidgeting with the gun, trying to get the bullets back into it. Giggles hits the cop, knocks him through a window.
Yeah, he does a pretty sweet drive on him.
Yeah, he does. Jennifer's about to shoot him, but Giggles just grabs the gun from her.
Bitch, give me that.
Yeah, he's like, give me that. And he turns to shoot the cop, but Jennifer then hits his arm at the last second, throwing the shot off. The cop runs off down the hall, taunting Giggles to follow him, allowing Jennifer and Max to get away. Jennifer and Max make it out of the underground hospital, the bunker, if you will, and back to Giggles' basement, where they try to go up the stairs, but the stairs collapse.
Yeah.
The whole thing just comes down.
They did kind of show that it was
rickety when they were coming
before.
down. Yeah. Meanwhile, back in the underground operating room that we saw earlier, Giggles has found the cop. He shoots at him. The cop knocks over some bottles of chemicals on the floor, which shatter, and somehow a fire just starts, and the cop's on fire. Like, it wasn't very clear. It's like,
yeah, that's a good point.
Like the chemicals spill on the floor, but the cop's just shooting around the room.
Were there sparks that hit?
I don't know, but it just suddenly there's fire. It just kind of happened. Like
you're right. I don't really remember.
I don't remember either. Like, it's a spontaneous combustion. The room light's on fire. The cop's on fire.
Yeah, the cop's on fire. Yeah, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, but Giggles decides, you know what? That's not enough. He grabs the cop, flings him around, saying, I haven't discharged you. They fight and struggle.
He's not going to let him burn. He's going to fucking take care of himself.
Just let the guy burn, you know? Like, Jesus.
In the struggle, the fire gets extinguished.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. He ends up helping the cop. The cop manages to somehow wrap a chain around Dr. Giggles' neck.
A chain hanging from the ceiling. Sure. Why not?
This allows the cop to get the upper hand for a moment, but Giggles mutters out, "Don't make me laugh," grabs the circular bone saw, which you've seen before, slices into the cop's back. Blood comes pouring out of the cop's mouth, and he just seems to fall over dead. We never see him again.
Yeah.
So he's done. While all this is going on, Jennifer is hoisting Max up so he can then pull her up the broken stairs. Right as she's about to get pulled up, Giggles pops up, grabbing her ankle, but she's able to kick him off after a little struggle. He giggles as he gets up, but the two of them are able to scramble. They get away.
She scrambles up and they run out.
So Giggles,
they're on their way out.
Yeah, so Giggles, instead of trying to figure out a way to go after them, he decides to go back into the hospital area, which is now engulfed in flames. And the camera keeps showing us shots of these flammable tanks, like large oxygen tank or something.
But it says flammable,
flammable
all over them.
Now, I don't understand Dr. Giggles' thought process here, but he seems to go into the heart of the fire.
He goes right into the center of everything.
Right in the center of the fire, and he stands there giggling. Just stands there giggling like a madman while Jennifer and Max escape the house right as it fucking explodes.
Ba-boom.
I mean, just goes up. It's boom. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Max gets thrown off the porch.
Yeah.
He goes flying. And when they show the explosion, they show it from the carnival, and obviously you can see the explosion
They see,
from
like,
the
the mushroom
carnival.
cloud
So
go
they're
up.
all on top of each other. They have to be. That's where you can see Dr. Giggles' house explode from the carnival.
You can.
So they gotta be right on top of each other. Holy shit! It just confirmed our theory.
And then landing like right next to them outside on fire is the black medical bag of Dr. Giggles' dad. Now we cut to Jennifer on a gurney being rolled through a hospital. Now this hospital is brightly lit. The hallways are brightly lit. It's all white, proper hospital. On her way into surgery. But she's wheeled into the darkest operating room I have ever seen, which is such bullshit. Like I just said, hospitals are always brightly lit. This hallway was. It was brightly lit.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, when I was rolled into the operating room for my, they had my tumor removed, the lights were so, it was like almost blinding how bright that room was.
Because they want to see everything.
Exactly. See everything. But no, this fucking operating room has one little light on and they're about to do a heart surgery. Are you fucking kidding me? Turn on some damn lights. Oh, Jesus. So the surgeon gets Jennifer kind of strapped in as the nurse or technician checks other machines and equipment. But then she spots blood kind of leaking out from under a door attached to the operating room. So she opens the door. She follows it into a very large trail of blood that leads her to two dead bodies of either other surgeons or technicians. And like his go-to move, Giggles just pops up from behind her, snaps her neck like a Slim Jim. She's dead.
Snaps her neck like a Slim Jim.
He then enters the operating room as the surgeon is just starting to like put Jennifer out with the anesthesia.
Like the anesthesiologist, yeah.
Giggles walks right up next to this guy and starts pulling out all these giant,
and he's
vicious, like medieval looking instruments.
He's got his garb on, but it's still like singed and burned.
And he's all bubbly and blistery from the fire. And these instruments look more like torture devices than medical instruments.
Right.
And the surgeon, again, is just standing there next to him, looking at him, like,
what the
who the hell are you? What are those things? And the doctor Giggles just looks at him and says, I'm her doctor. And he's like, these are just something I threw together.
These are, some of my own designs.
Like, I threw them together. Mm-hmm. And he just kills the surgeon with one of these
but I haven't quite used them yet.
They haven't been tested.
They haven't been tested. He lines them up on the anesthesiologist's face. Who's just standing there going,
dude. And keep in mind, this thing that he's lining up in front of his face has like 6 spikes pointing right at this guy's face.
This looks like something out of fucking Hellraiser.
Yeah.
You know? Or like Phantasm spikes. He just holds it in front of his face. Boom! And just smashes his face with it, pulls it back, and he has his glasses, his bloody glasses impaled on it.
So yeah, he kills the surgeon. Boom. Hearing his voice, a groggy Jennifer slowly gets herself off the gurney.
She's all dazed from the anesthesia.
Giggles says, hey, there's still time. Let's pick up where we left off. Jennifer stumbles out of the room and locks herself inside a medical storage closet. Also, I would like to point out at this point, I want to mention at this point, that for a working hospital, no one has noticed the 3 dead bodies lying in the hallway with a giant trail of blood leading up to them.
Nah.
Nobody.
Nah. Hey, man, it's nights. It's real loose on nights.
So, Giggles begins to smash his way into the closet, and Jennifer spots a defibrillator in there. So when Giggles has fully smashed his way inside and is standing in front of her, she holds up these 2 glass bottles filled with some kind of clear liquid. She throws them at his feet. They shatter on the floor. Giggles tells her it's time to take her medicine. Jennifer spins around, grabs the defibrillator paddles, and says, try some of your own medicine. And with that, she uses the paddles to shock the liquid on the floor that Giggles is standing in. And this electrocutes the shit out of him.
Ugh.
Blue electricity and sparks are flying everywhere.
That sweet blue electricity from the 80s made its way to the 90s.
Yeah, it did. And it's all its wonderful glory.
Yep.
Giggles is twitching and shaking while still
Giggling like an idiot.
And this scene is so ridiculous, but it's awesome at the same time because of this, the blue electricity and the way Larry Drake is portrayed. It's like, and like and twitching,
with his giggles,
and these cheap like blue electricity.
His
like
eyes are doing something crazy
too. It's so ridiculous, but it's awesome at the same time. He falls over with one last. It's so weird sounding. And he just collapses to the floor. Now, before I go on, when I said he was about to electrocute the liquor on the floor, you kind of made like rolled your eyes. So, like, is there something scientifically, medically wrong with this idea?
Yes.
Okay.
Everything. You can't discharge defibrillator paddles on. You just can't just charge them whenever you want. You can like bang, 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 bang. There's a lot of steps to it.
Well, we all know they have to charge, I mean,
No,
at least that part.
No, it's now the only thing that might get away with it is that it's old equipment. That's the only thing that might work. Other than that, she'd get the shit probably knocked out of her too. He's wearing rubber shoes. It doesn't make any sense.
Actually, we don't know his shoes. His shoes, he could be wearing fucking like wingtips or loafers.
Yeah,
we don't know.
Like with soft soles. I don't know. I was just kind of like. But I'm going along for the ride. He gets the shit shocked out of him.
Yeah. So Jennifer drops the paddles and slowly walks past them. But of course, he springs back to life, grabs her.
Thank God, because I was going to be really pissed. And that's the way they got rid of Dr. Giggles.
Yeah, so he grabs her ankle. He stands back up. Well, struggles. I will say that.
He's pretty fucked up.
He's fucked up. He's been set on fire, survived an explosion. He's now been electrocuted.
He's having a bad day.
He struggles the same way. He's like, has one hand on her shoulder. He's kind of like pulling himself up, using her as balance. And I gotta say again, the face that Dr. Giggles is making in the shot is so fucking ridiculous. It's priceless.
Yeah.
Like, it's hilarious. I can't even begin to describe it. You just have to see it. It's awesome. He stands there and says, "I don't feel well." And then Jennifer grabs like two of like the crazy looking surgical instruments that Giggles handmade that he had in his hands. It says, "Take two of these and call me in the morning." And Giggles like, yeah, he gives a little giggle, and then she just stabs him through the chest with them. He stumbles backwards, drops to his knees, and now, as ridiculous as this movie is, it gets even weirder because Giggles decides at this one point to break the fourth wall. He looks straight into the camera and says, "Is there a doctor in the house?" And then he falls face first onto the floor. The surgical instruments are pushed even further through his body,
impaling him through.
Dr. Giggles dies.
And as he's dying, "Is there a doctor in the house?" line is so drawn out.
Yeah.
And he's drooling.
Oh, he's got
and
staring
at the camera. It's like, what is going on? It's a really crazy scene.
You know they wrote that just for, like, the theatrical release. Like, still, like, it's so weird to, like, break right down the barrel of the camera when nothing in this movie has done anything like that at all. Anyway, so he's dead. We cut to Jennifer waking up in a hospital bed after a successful surgery. Her dad is sitting on the bed next to her in hospital gowns and a robe. He leaves as Max enters with his arm in a sling. He goes over to sit next to her. Now, I also couldn't help but notice that for someone who just had heart surgery, she has pretty much like no wires on her. She's not connected to like any real equipment.
Oh no, it's like, "Hi, Dad."
It's like
how's it going?
She might have just been in there for like the flu or like I had a tonsil. Like when my dad had a heart attack and when I went to see him, he looked more machine than man, as they would say. He's like I was like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
But nope, she's completely fine. They kiss. The camera pans over to her heart monitor, which begins to beat faster and faster because they're kissing. She's getting all excited. Roll credits. That's Dr. Giggles. I do have to say, I'm surprised that the cheating boyfriend survived.
And she's like really, she's
like okay with it.
Yeah, she's okay with it.
Yeah, like you were just cheating on me, making out with this girl before all this shit went down. But now it's like, okay, whatever.
We're cool.
So yeah, Moon Goons. That's Dr. Giggles. Let's move on to favorite kills. I'm sorry, favorite kills.
There can be only one. Favorite kill.
All right. Aaron, what do you got this week for favorite kills?
There were a lot of kills.
There were a lot.
It's a decent body count, but kind of like what you said
It's
before,
in the double digits.
the gore factor was so disappointing. You know, like killed by syringe, killed by, you know, an off-camera like tonsillectomy or whatever. There was potential,
Yes.
but yeah, it was kind of disappointing. I wanted my favorite kill to be the blood pressure cuff around the neck. I was saying that earlier. That really, really, really wanted that to be my favorite kill. Unfortunately, it was so anticlimactic. It just didn't do it for me. So I guess I'm gonna have to go with. I kind of liked Dr. Giggles' death. I kind of liked him finally getting impaled, his crazy pitch to the fourth wall, falling through, impaled. You see a good amount of blood. That was kind of cool.
Yeah.
And plus, those instruments were pretty gnarly looking.
They were pretty gnarly.
They were cool looking. That was my favorite kill.
I agree with you in everything you said. They missed a lot of opportunities for great gore. They had really unique kills. They just didn't gore it up like they should have. Like, I really wanted to like the one with the stomach pump and that drill. Like, that could have been great. Like, they could have had all the blood come out, and then you could have seen like the drill come out through her stomach or something like that. Again, the blood pressure. They had so many missed opportunities. But I agree with you. My favorite kill was Dr. Giggles as well.
Yeah.
Just because he gets electrocuted, he gets shocked the shit out of him. And just what also makes it so ridiculous is the facial expressions he's making during all this are so priceless.
Fantastic.
It's fantastic. It's just like, what? So, yeah, I agree with you. I'm going with Dr. Giggles as well as my favorite kill for this week. With that, let's move on to odds and ends.
Not only did they watch these films, they researched them too. Ugh, what is wrong with these guys?
All right, our ratings. IMDb gives it a 5.1 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes as a 27% thermometer score with a 42% audience score.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And Amazon. Now, Amazon, we know Amazon. We have a history with Amazon.
3.5?
No, 4.4 out of 5.
Jesus Christ.
56% of the reviews were 5-star reviews.
Wow.
Yeah. Plot keywords. There were actually a lot. I just wrote some of the ones that I thought were kind of weird. That if you look at them, I was like, first one, condom is like plot keyword for this movie.
Well, there's a very troubling scene with a condom.
Yeah, but woman wearing black lingerie.
Yeah, mom's lingerie.
Overhearing sex. Not sex scene, just overhearing sex.
Cool. I think that's a first.
That is a first. Bound and gagged, and mitral valve prolapse.
Mitral valve prolapse. Yes, that's a theme in the movie.
But again, plot keyword.
That's a first.
That's a first. All right, so trivia. I actually got some interesting trivia for this movie that I thought was kind of fun. So first of all, so we were talking about this to create that bizarre POV shot through the mouth that we saw earlier.
Yeah.
They used an oversized mouth prop was constructed for the camera to fit into to film from behind it. So they like strapped this fake mouth around the camera.
So it was a practical effect.
Yeah, and to match the size of the mouth, they made an oversized tongue depressor, which for the doctor to use, and they just used like this weird perspective. We are talking. Okay, this is the guy who played in Roseanne. He died of a heroin overdose on December 3rd, 2002. The guy Max.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I already talked about he won back to Larry Drake won back-to-back Emmy Awards in 1988 and 89 for his character Benny Stolwitz on L.A. Law.
Oh.
He passed away in 2016, so recently he lost his battle against blood cancer.
Oh, bummer.
And let's see, we talked about that. The house that belonged to Dr. Giggles was not a real house. It was a prop house that they built and set up in a park. The crew had built the prop house instead of using a real house, just so the fact they could blow it up at the end of the film, which makes sense.
Awesome.
The body count was 17, supposedly.
Jesus Christ.
Now, get ready for this shit. This blows my mind. Jennifer Aniston and Ashley Judd were both auditioned for the role of Jennifer.
Wow.
Can you imagine either one of them was in this movie?
Well, Jennifer Aniston was in Leprechaun.
Which was, I think...
right around the same time.
I think it was after this. I think she lost out on this and went on to Leprechaun.
Wow.
Can you imagine if this was Jennifer Aniston's like debut film instead of Leprechaun?
Well,
Or Ashley Judd?
Ashley Judd, that's a weird one.
That's a weird one. Now, this is even crazier. Ted Danson was considered for the role of Dr. Giggles.
No.
Yes! Could you imagine Dr. Giggles was played by Sam the bartender? No. Fucking Ted Daniels? Ted Danson?
No, dude, that's crazy.
That's insanity.
Well, it was the early 90s.
He was huge.
He was trying to do film. It was right when Cheers ended, right when Cheers was winding down.
Yeah.
He did a movie called Made in America where it was like with Whoopi Goldberg. He also did a movie where it was with Macaulay Culkin, where he was like a criminal, like trying to make good and be with, like, I don't remember the name of the movie.
I don't remember that one.
It was I remember seeing it, and I was like, I don't remember any of it because it was a shit movie.
Yeah, I'm just like, that would be Ted Danson's Dr. Giggles would be weird.
Yeah, that'd be really weird.
All right, so that's all I have for trivia this week. But I do get to move on this week to play a variation of our budget game.
Time for Aaron to blow his wad with the budget game.
Now, I don't have the budget. I have the opening weekend gross and the total gross of the entire film. So we're going to play Guess the Grosses. I'll give you a hint on this, Aaron. Opening weekend, it opened on 1,681 theaters in 1992.
1,681
theaters.
81 theaters. That
so how much money did it make its opening weekend?
1992.
Mm-hmm.
Horror film. No names. $4.5 million.
4.5. You came in way under. Well, not I should say way under. Opening gross weekend, 2,714,815.
I was over. You said I came in way under.
You said $4.5 million.
Yeah, and you said how much?
$2 million.
Yeah, so I went over.
What did I say?
Under.
Oh shit! Fuck me. Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, I was $2 million off.
You were over. All right, you were over. And it opened at number 7 in the country in this opening weekend.
That's not good.
No. Do you want to take a guess at what its total, how much it made in its total lifespan in the theaters?
All right. Well, movies like that, they don't last long. Because I remember watching the previews when I was a kid in 1992. I was like 12, 13 years old, depending on when it came out. Yeah, I remember looking. I even remember thinking to myself,
October 23rd.
So I would have been just turned 13.
I was 12. You were 13.
And I remember even thinking to myself, this movie looks like shit. Because I was just old enough to start thinking, man, that looks like dog shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't remember. There was like no buzz around it, if I remember correctly. It was like not like people like, oh, dude, you gotta go see Dr. Giggles. Oddly enough, it was like, dude, you gotta go see Leprechaun. Yeah. So it made $2 million its opening weekend. Let's say it lasted. It was October, so probably had some hype from Halloween. All right, you're giving me the wrap up. Okay, $7.5 million.
Very close. That's probably your closest guess ever, almost, on one of these.
Okay.
Gross was $8,403,433.
Look at that.
So good on you for that one. I'll give you the win on that. That was super close. Aaron gets a win there today.
Nice.
All right, next we move on to our, I don't know, it's kind of fun at times, but we're going to move on to 5-star reviews.
These special movies have a place in these special people's hearts. 5-star reviews.
Now, there were a lot of reviews for this. A lot.
Apparently, people liked it.
But because it's very polarizing, so I rated 5 and 1.
Okay, awesome.
So from Tessa Sanders. This movie makes you so glad that the lead actors got better at acting. All I can say is the doctor is in. Did kind of want the scumbag cheating boyfriend had gotten off, but oh well, 5 stars.
I kind of feel that way too.
It's kind of weird though. It's like it makes you feel glad that the leading actors got better at acting. 5 stars. Like, that's so weird.
That's a weird thing to say.
All right, some whimsical night. The movie is great for those like my wife and I that love wonderfully terrible movies. 5 stars. That one I trimmed down a lot. Some of these I really had to trim down. From a customer, this is all bold, keep in mind, and capitalized. It's great for a first date. Your date will grab you and hold on to you nice and tight. Smiley face, 5 stars.
Your date is going to hate you.
Your date's gonna hate you.
What did you do to me?
Yeah. And from another customer, I have seen many horror movies, but have honestly never been scared. But after seeing this movie, I was truly walking through my house with my back to my walls, peeking around every corner. It is an awesome movie that will truly scare the heck out of you. 5 stars. No, it's not scary. It's more of a comedy.
It's like slapsticky almost
yeah,
at times.
Yeah. And from Cheryl Meeks, this is I forgot about this. This is another movie I will never watch. It's a gift from my daughter. I will not be able to give it a product review. 5 stars.
Well, thanks.
How do you say so? I've never watched it. I'm not going to watch it.
5
I can't
stars.
rate it, but 5 stars.
Sure.
And lastly, from Sid the Elf. Now, this guy wrote a shit long, novel of a review. And at the very end was the best part. Because he breaks the movie down by numbers.
Okay.
So he wrote 17 dead bodies, 94 creepy giggles from the doctor, 1 dead, poorly acted Dougie Doug, 7 unwanted surgeries, 1 The Fear alumni, so somebody from the movie The Fear, 0 breasts, and then in parentheses, I know, right? 1 Dr. Mario plane, and 1 bra salesman Skid Farkas from Seinfeld, 2-star sighting, and 1 fantastic B horror movie, 5 stars.
Wow. This guy really knew his
Yeah, he broke that shit down.
his Dr. Giggles. 94 giggles, huh?
94 creepy giggles, apparently. Now let's check out the opposite side of this coin. The 1-star reviews.
All right.
First off, from a customer, I have a contract out on the person who developed the premise of eviscerating often oversexed teenagers. 1 star. So I guess he's talking about like a hit man. I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah, he does. Jesus. They weren't oversexed.
They really
they were very
weren't.
appropriately sexed.
yeah. Except for the one high school going to the laundry, there's hardly any even.
Yeah.
There's really no sex in this movie.
Well, except for the blowing of
The facts. Yeah, flaying the saxophone. From Ted, avoid the new teeny bopper filth, Dr. Giggles. Okay, this one. Bear with me, guys, because this guy's insane. Avoid the new teeny bopper filth. Dr. Giggles, Scream, I Know What You Did Last Summer, Ghost Ship, Valentine, Urban Legend, and too many more to name. But stick to classic horror movies. 1978 Halloween, 1984 A Nightmare on Elm Street, 1984 Silent Night, Deadly Night, 92-minute uncut version, 1981 The Burning, uncut by Dragon Vipco, 1977 Dawn of the Dead. And remember, the new can't imitate the classics. P.S. Dr. Giggles is as terrible as Leprechaun, Puppet Master, Child's Play, and other goofy bad movies that don't deserve to be named horror movies. 1 star.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
Dude, come on. They're all, I mean, yes, you named off some amazing, good, classic horror movies, but you gotta love some of that other stuff.
That guy's one of those asshole, horror movie snobs.
Yeah. It's like the beer snobs who's just like,
the micro beer snobs.
Don't get me wrong, I like micro beers. They're delicious, and I can enjoy, a Tasmanian IPA.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm not gonna turn up my nose to a PBR. I drink that shit too, man. I'm like, sweet, awesome, thanks.
Exactly. From Barbarian. How are we supposed to take a gimp from LA Law seriously? I'd probably help to pay your victims and get payment before killing them. He's the greatest dentist of our time. Isaac Yankem, DDS, has nothing on Dr. Giggles, Larry Drake. The geniuses in Hollywood probably kicked themselves thinking they hired a prize gem from Darkman to play this leading role. 1 star.
Isaac Yankem?
I love the Isaac Yankem reference.
That's a pro wrestler from...
That's Kane.
That's Kane.
That was Kane.
Before Kane was Kane.
Yeah.
He was
Isaac Yankem. DDS.
DDS. God.
Yeah, I love that, for that reference. Now, the last 3 are kids' reviews, which I always love these.
Oh, boy.
This movie, Dr. Giggles, is the worst movie ever. It makes Flintstones and Viva Rock Vegas look like The Godfather. It makes Glitter look like Citizen Kane. It makes Geely look like Gone with the Wind. This movie will make you barf on your lap. All of you who gave this 5-star rating, I think you all should be shot. 1 star.
Damn, kid.
Yeah. Last 2 here, and then we're wrapping it up. Another kid's review. This movie was very gross and almost made me want to puke. I was disgusted not only by the disgusting killings, but the horrendous acting. Manny Kato is a bad director, and I've seen one of his other films, Star Kid. It was also bad. Boo! 1 star.
That review is so bad it's good.
Yeah. And the last kid review. I hate this movie and everyone in it. The lines that made it a horror comedy were lame and pointless. The one-liners were awful and the acting was horrendous. Also, the make effects made me want to gag. Ew, yuck, don't see it. Okay, bye. 1 star.
I really like the way you read that. Okay, bye. Nicely done.
So there you have it, guys. We're ran a little long with this one, but goddamn. Aaron, wrap it up for us.
Speaking of running long, I felt like the movie was long. It was only an hour and a half long, but goddamn, that movie felt long.
I felt so too. Like
Yeah.
I did feel like it was dragged on at times.
It just really did. But honestly, I'm kind of glad I watched it because this is something I've been, it was literally on my radar since 1992, and I'm gonna have to say so bad it's good.
All right.
I'm gonna say so bad it's good, but just because for some reason it holds a little special place in my heart. I remember seeing the ads, and I think this is the first time I ever seen a horror movie ad and think, is this really a horror movie? Or is this a what is this? What exactly is this? This is like my first little taste or idea of a horrible horror movie, or a movie that's a horror movie but has a little something else to it. Something corny or different or a twist. It had some interesting kills. We already talked about what we didn't like about it, what they could have improved on. But it had some stupid puns. It was fun. It was nice.
Some stupid puns.
It was full
Jesus.
of stupid puns. It was great to see like some early 90s, lots of those 90s styles, dark the colors. There's just the 90s stuff. Dr. Mario. So bad it's good. Check it out once if you want a little trip back to the 90s.
All right. First off, let me thank Todd Brown again for suggesting this one to us. And sorry it took so long for us to get to it, but we did. I'm torn. Like, I'm kind of with you, man. Like, it does feel long because, like, it's a total runtime is like an hour 31 minutes.
Yeah.
And you take like maybe 2 or 3 minutes away for credits, but it still feels like it's kind of
It felt long.
After all we said and done, the movie's insane. Like, there's so many loopholes and like things that make absolutely zero sense, and like a lot of it was like they just completely shat the bed on that and said, "Fuck it, who cares?"
Yeah.
But when you, but at the same time, it's so insane that it's ridiculous in a good way. And yeah, the gore could have been better. I agree, but god damn, this is like we've said about other movies like Shopping Mall was like a time capsule of the 80s.
Yeah.
Well, this movie is kind of like a time capsule of the early 90s of that period, man. It's just perfectly like in that weird awkward transition between 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
But I too, I'm going to say so bad it's good, but barely.
Yeah.
But just, it's worth one watch. Just watch it and then move on.
Yeah.
Watch it once, enjoy the insane amount of puns, and the Larry Drake does I will say he does a good job.
He does save it.
His mannerisms, his giggles, he does a solid job. Enjoy it once, move on. So bad it's good.
Yep.
There you go. I'm done.
I'm with you.
All right, that's it. We wrapped it up. That's Dr. Giggles. All right, Moon Goons. We'll be back. We'll be back soon with another horror movie. So in the meantime, guys, remember to watch more horror movies and remember to always keep it tight.